Hi, and welcome back to the Imperfectly Charming podcast. I have with me today, again, with our Sweet 16 podcast series, Sharon Wilson, Cheri Neal, and Karen Cowperthwaite. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hey,
How are ya?
Great.
all
Nice.
right.
Yes, and we're going to get right into it. And
Yep.
Karen, I'm going to ask you to take us away.
All right. Well, I know I mentioned this topic to all of us, and I just thought it would be something that our audience would enjoy and maybe, be inspired by. And so I'm just going to ask all of you, have you ever had a moment where something inside of you whispers, "Don't do that," or "Go this way instead"? And so I want to talk to our audience about that still small voice that's within each of us. And it's
Mhm.
so quiet sometimes, it's easy to miss. And so that's what I wanted to just open up the floor to is, what's that like to have that gentle knowing within? And how do you access it? And when do you typically need it? And so let's start.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to begin just by saying I have had these inklings since I was a teenager. I can remember going back to a teenager and feeling certain ways, and I probably did. I didn't understand what they were, but I was getting a gut feeling about stuff. And I think the older I got, the more I got into my head, the less I was listening to my inner wisdom. And over the last, gosh, several years, I mean, before we started doing all this together, I was really tapping into listening to my higher self. And that is whether it's a little, Karen, I think you taught me this term, like a little flyby,
Mm,
where you just get an inkling of, hey, did I check that? This is a simple one. Check that curling iron before I leave the house or go back and or it's just like little nudges when you're doing some stuff. And when I am feeling low and I listen, I am getting some good guidance.
Yeah.
So it's kind of all over the board for me, and I bet you it is for you guys too. But I just wanted to tell you that I remember having these intuition uh, knowings at a young age.
mm,
I was going to say something about the gentle nudge because you said it's not always gentle. So that's when I know I'm not listening, is when I feel the push. And my husband will say this now when we're making a decision. If we feel like we're pushing for a decision, it's usually because we're up here and not in here. We're not waiting. It means we don't have all the facts. And I can also validate that with recently, I've had several clients that have expressed that push feeling. And when I connect with them and I say, well, what are we thinking with our head or our heart? They're able to sit there and go, oh my gosh, it's with my head. So we have to talk about how we slow down and get out of the busyness to be able to release the pressure. Because I think when we have that gentle nudge, that's more the inner knowing. But in order to get that, we've got to recognize if we're feeling the push or we're feeling like things aren't feeling right inside. That usually means we have to slow down and figure out, are we using our head or our heart?
mm.
Yeah, I love this topic because I think about and there's like two variations of it, right? So sometimes it's like I'm leaving my house and I have this thought to grab a book.
Mhm.
It's like I don't need that book, right? And thank God I've learned. So now I go and get the book. The other day, perfect example, like I went running out the door. I was like, check your coat pocket for the coat I was wearing the other day. And I was like, there was nothing in there that needed. I pull out of the driveway and I'm like, it's the stopwatch for running laps, right? And so I had to pull
Mhm.
back into the driveway, go in, and like it's this like constant companion that just whispers to me the things that will make my life
Mhm.
better. But then, like Sharon said, then there's sometimes where I don't listen. And for me, it's my body. Like I just got back from vacation with a friend and had just a huge honk and cold sore all the way across my lip. And realizing that I'm at bandwidth and there's some things I have to let go of that are really hard. Cause like one of the things like professional speaking, I've been like going after for 11 years, being the president of the National Speaker Association. I mean, all of this. And it's like this soft little voice saying, sweetie, enough. just enough. It's time to stop. And that sucks. I hate that. So Sharon, you said, are you okay? I'm like, I'm feeling a little melancholy because I don't like the word no. And especially when that inner voice tells me no, it really is hard. And it's like that gentle, soft, caring, let's just stop. Just for a
Can I
little.
ask you a question about that? When did you know the difference? Because I feel like how do we know to listen, to feel the nudge? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it was trial and error, actually. Like all the times that I
That's a
didn't
good point.
listen,
That's me too.
right, that I had to learn to the point where now it's like, and even with this, like I probably it was probably going on a lot, but it took the
Hmm.
physical ailments, like the closer across my lip, and then me being in anxiety overwhelm for an entire weekend. And it was like,
Hmm.
okay, 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 fine. What? What do you need to tell me? Right. And yeah, yeah.
Usually when I feel like when you're on a hamster wheel,
Mhm.
like there's a cycle and it's like we just need to kind of slow down and ask the question. And I think too, it's sometimes we don't even ask the question. It is like those thoughts that come in our heads that we think aren't ours, they really are. So pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Karen?
Um, I I just feel like, the voice isn't loud. It's
Mm,
not dramatic for me. It doesn't give me a 5-year plan. I remember 14 years ago when I was an administrator in public schools, and I just felt this, and I do
mm,
call it a gentle nudge to make a change. And
mm,
I it wasn't logical. I mean, if I listened to the people around me, they would tell me, "What are you thinking? Maybe are you crazy?" But deep within me, I knew that making that change in my life to shift into intuitive coaching and guidance and energy healing was what my heart really wanted.
mhm,
It was challenging not to get derailed by the outside noise.
Well,
mhm,
Yeah.
no kidding. That took so much courage. Oh my God. It blows
mhm.
my mind how much courage that took for you
But
to step up
getting
and step out.
getting to that stillness, that quiet place in you,
Yes,
It
that's
takes
the challenge.
practice, doesn't it? It
it
takes
does.
practice.
Yeah. I'm
Because we want to
curious.
think it out. We want to think it out,
We
convince
and be
ourselves, rationalize.
intentional. We want to be intentional
Yeah.
with some of that, with some practices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so curious as to find out what each of you feel is your own way of getting in touch that place within you.
Well, and
Mm.
Cheryl, thinking about Karen and getting to have a front row seat to like that transformation in your life and being so in awe with you having the courage to talk to your husband. And like, I mean, that was a big deal coming out of the closet with Kevin
Oh,
was,
there was tons of fear, tons of
oh, of
backpedaling,
course
tons
there
of saying
was.
no way, no how.
Right. But Cheryl, you're one of the few women that I've known that have been able to leave a marriage and not grab onto something else. Just
Mhm.
know that it was not the best thing for you and your kids and walk out of that. And so I'm curious how the voice showed up for you in that period to give you the courage to do that.
You know,
Mm.
Sherry, I'm not even exactly sure. I just knew that I wanted things to change, and it was torture for me because here I am. Do I stay for them? Do I leave for me? And it
Mhm.
was, I was breaking up my family. But in the long run, I knew on the other side that it would be better. And I'm not trying to trash my marriage. I'm not, it was just not working. The love, there was no evidence for my children that love, true love existed. And I really wanted to show them a, a better way. Even
Mhm.
though that never happened because, I don't date or I haven't dated in, a long time. But yeah, it was, do I stay for them or do I leave for me? Which, as a mother, has ridden me with guilt for many, 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 many years because I was
And
putting
then,
myself first and we learn not to put ourselves first.
right, we were programmed. We've learned
Right.
that we have to, right?
Yeah.
That's the way
We have to
out.
unlearn.
We have
Yeah.
to unlearn that. Yes, that's what we've all been working on for how many years is unlearning that
Yeah.
and
Well,
learning that we
just
matter.
just to say out loud that I always said that I either wanted to teach my kids what it was like to be in a healthy, whole relationship or what it's like to be healthy by myself.
Yes. I
Mm.
agree.
And you did. I mean, you have
Hmm.
two amazing children too, right? That
Yep.
to learn what it was like to stand on your own and be healthy and whole. And now they get to step into relationship in a much different way
That,
than they've gotten to. Same
yeah.
thing with you guys staying married, your marriages, right? Being there for like all of the ups and the
Hmm.
downs and finding yourselves and just making your marriages stronger, right? I mean, just really it's hard.
I think the point of it all is like we can't always make sense of it. And it's like when we start trying to make sense of it, that's when we judge it or try to rationalize it. So it's like, what if it's just when we follow the nudges, we're going on the journey that's going to lead us down and meet the people and do the things that are taking us through our lives. And we continue to like feel it out versus think it out. Because when we think about it, that's when all the judgments come in, right? Like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. But if you did, you wouldn't be at ease with yourself. You wouldn't feel peace and calmness. Because when we follow the gentle nudges, that's where people are being attracted to that energy. They're attracted to us living out whatever our journey is without trying to figure it out, right? So I feel like the gentle nudges lead me on a path that is meant for me that I can't really explain, like me moving, 1,200 miles away from all of my family like
And
seemed like
friends.
the craziest thing. But gently, I kept making every decision. And here's the other thing that happens when you follow the gentle nudges is the puzzle pieces, I say, start to fall into place. So you get to follow the breadcrumbs, things like, just kind of happen in your favor, right? And then when you feel that it's hard again, that's when I think you have to get quiet and be like, okay, I need to center, which I think was someone's question. How
Wow.
do you know? What are your practices?
Wow.
And for me, it's slowing down and it's meditating. It's listening when I first wake up in the morning, because that's when my brain is quiet. So,
Yeah, for me, um, when I really am ruminating and my little, inner critic is going off and I just am just running on, you know, a bunch of mind chatter, that's when I really stop. And for me, it's got to do with breath work and taking that nice, gentle, deep breath in. And for me, it's through the nose. It doesn't matter how you do it, but for in through the nose, out through the mouth. When I breathe in through my nose and you get to that top of the inhale and you pause for that moment, that's when for me it gets super quiet. And that's that little space and time that I don't know, I feel like I expand a little bit. I
mhm,
open up a little bit to start to relax my nervous system, relax, into the breath. And then I can somewhat start to access that little that's place in me that I feel like
mhm,
has more wisdom.
And it gets easier the more you do it. But
Mhm.
you really have to be cognizant about it. And one thing that I have noticed with connecting with my breath, like you said, Karen, was I am way less reactive. Like something could happen that
mhm,
might have, really bothered me in the past. And now I'm just like roll with it. And not that I don't get upset, but
mhm.
it's less reactive for sure.
Mm. Yeah.
Could be age, could be wisdom, but
Could be listening to I feel like I've learned to listen.
yes.
I don't always want to. And that's like when I was saying before, like when me and my husband have a decision to make, it's like you got a timetable. It's like we got to make a decision. But if it doesn't feel right, that's also a signal that it's not time yet, you know? You don't
Yeah.
have all the information you need.
I have a bunch of practices that I do, and I would call it like my menu, and I get to choose
Mm,
from whatever. And one of the ones that helps me is it's called TM, Transcendental Meditation, where you are
mm,
like quiet, and you have a mantra, and the one that uh, Deepak Chopra, he created a free thing for TM because it's a paid training
mm,
meditation thing. And his universal mantra is so hum. So if you can just sit quietly and when your mind start racing and you can just go back to so hum. So, and you say it in your head, it's not like you're saying it out loud.
Mm.
And it kind of brings you back to neutral where now you can, you're not like on that hamster wheel, even though
mhm,
sometimes it feels like a ticker tape, going across.
Mhm.
That's one of the ones. And grounding. I love grounding in the summertime where you're just sitting in with your feet in the grass. I love that. And just being quiet and still. And I actually, uh, Hope, who is my brand manager, she created a process for me when I get out of bed. I get up, I stand up, and I imagine that the earth is coming up with its roots and it's going from one leg all the way into my arm, all the way up out my arm, down my leg, and back
I
into the
like that.
earth for like a grounding, because I've told that I need to ground more. I'm always
Hmm.
into my head. So
Hmm.
those are a few things that come to mind for me.
I like those.
Well, and definitely the sitting and the breathing and positive intelligence, right? And just the daily practice, a longer period in the morning and then throughout the day for a couple of minutes. But for me, I think the one that has had the biggest impact on my life is moving meditations. Like I clean horse stalls every morning, and
Mm.
so just doing having the quiet space and the movement where my body's busy. Same thing. I love jogging, right? And so just being in motion and it tends to quiet my mind
Hmm.
when I've got my body in motion. So yeah, those are
Speaking of in motion, mine is actually journaling. I think that's where I get the most.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it starts with conscious journaling. Like for me, I pick a card every morning and then I reflect on the card and I'll just write like, here's the card. Like that's how I get started. It's conscious. And then as I keep going, those thoughts that we were talking about just kind of come in. And I used to overthink them and be like, why is that? Why, what am I saying? But now I go into unconscious. So I journal unconsciously. So it's consciously to start. And then all of a sudden I just start writing and I just start whatever pops in my head, I start writing. And I don't know if you guys have this happen too, but then I'll look back and I'll be like, where did that come from? I got some answers, right? So for me, that's kind of my process in the mornings.
Yeah.
For people that are listening that might not understand what you say when you say I pull a card, because all of us do
Oh
the
yeah.
same thing.
Thank you for
Uh,
explaining.
you are like, do you want to like just talk about that process?
Yes, and you all probably got me on this, is Oracle cards. But you can do anything. You can look up a quote of the day. You can, have something that you look at every day that you just want to reflect on. You could have a book that has sayings, whatever. So it could be anything. For me, it's an Oracle card, and I have different packs, but I just kind of shuffle them, and then whatever flies out, I just say, okay, that's the card I'm meant to see today.
Mhm.
And I read about it. I think about how it applies to my life. And then I just start journaling how it is applying to my life. And like I said, it's conscious first. So there's conscious journaling. And then that usually, generally, unless I'm really in my head or in a rush, will lead to the unconscious journaling.
Yeah, and it could be a mantra, it could be a prayer, it could be a verse, a Bible verse,
Hmm.
anything that we want to connect to.
Anything.
Yeah.
well, even the daily reading book, somebody gave me one recently and they said, you don't actually have to read it day by day. You can use it
Oh.
and just open it to a page and read it. And it has been pretty magical too. What does oracle mean,
Hmm.
Hmm,
Sharon?
It's a good question. Um, to me, an oracle is just a message.
A guide message.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we're talking about the journaling piece. So I somebody gifted me a pen that has the four different clickers, the different inks. And in our
Mm.
family systems where we have these little parts of ourselves. And so I started journaling with each part. Wait, how do I do that?
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh,
So
that's
we can have a
advanced.
Yeah.
conversation, right? It was so like cathartic, right? To just like let each piece like have its own little say in what was going on.
Ooh,
Cheri, I'm going to say out loud, you are the best journaler I've ever known. Like you
yeah.
are consistent.
Intentional.
Oh my gosh, like year after year after year after year.
Hmm.
So
Well,
you,
but I started a practice years ago where I and on um January 1 I have a journal for the year and I'm really really proud of this one. Look at that. So it's me when I was 5, me now, my older self, and then my lioness self. I was the lion for Halloween and just to remind myself that each day matters and then my scripture quote, right? That I have on there. So this is my journal for this year, but every year I'm really intentional on January 1 with what's my journal for the year. And then I don't write sometimes I don't write for months, but I always make sure I have a purse that will hold my journal so that no matter what, I always have it. And so if I
Mm.
like want to capture something that's amazing that somebody says, or, you know, that the dates for the next podcast that we're doing, right? All of the different things that I've got. And then from Thanksgiving until New Year's, I go through and I read my whole journal all the way through. And in my next year's journal, I list out what are the things I want to remember from last year. And
Mm.
then
Can
I
I
set
just
my,
say one thing important that everybody needs to learn? Because when I heard you say this to me, I was like, wow. Because I've journaled and I've stopped and I've considered that a failure because I didn't continue it. And you
Yeah.
just said something that was so important where you don't pick it up for 2 or 3 months and it's no big deal. And to
Right.
me, I just think, oh, now I got to start another journal
yeah,
instead of just going right
Yeah.
from where you left off.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I just keep it. And then at the end of the year, see, this one says 2026 number one. And so then I'll just put it on the bookshelf. And that way, like, no, that happened in 2015. Wait a minute. And I can literally go back to my journal.
Oh, it's
Like,
so cool.
God, it was the summer, and I can find the information from like what it was that I
That's
wanted.
amazing.
It is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's pretty powerful.
Mm.
And
I
so,
think
I
that's a
love,
really good point. Go ahead, Karen.
yeah, I love journaling in the morning first thing. I think Cheryl, you mentioned that too. But one of the practices I learned years ago from the Artist's Way was called morning pages. And you literally get up before you do anything else and just start to write. And even if you don't know, you don't have a topic, you don't have to. But even if you write down, I have nothing in this brain of mine,
Mm,
you'd be amazed what starts to come forward.
so cool.
And even sometimes I start out the page, like inner wisdom or God or whatever you call your higher power. What would you have me know today? And it,
mm,
it is kind of amazing what can come forward when
Mm.
we allow ourselves to just write.
hang on, I have
I
to put that in my journal.
Yeah.
I think it was my sister who showed me this journal at the store that was just one line every day. She said that's all she could do. They make them.
Oh
So it's
yeah.
like, journaling doesn't have to be that hard.
Mhm.
But even just the reflection of like, what do I want to write down to sum up my day? That might be kind of like your reflection point, your listening point. I think this all started with like, what are our practices, right? What gets us in that zone of paying attention?
When I know that I am connected to my higher source, whatever that is, I get like tingles throughout my whole body. And I
Mm,
know I am on it. Like I just know that I'm getting a message. So I love that feeling.
me
Sherry, I
too.
remember one time I said to you, I go, I think that whenever I get these tingles that I'm getting a message. She's like, you think? No, you don't think, you know. And I couldn't even didn't know how to admit it. But you're
Right.
like, oh my gosh, that's totally true.
Yeah.
Especially for other people.
Well,
I get them when I'm coaching.
well, and that's what I'm curious with everybody because mine is like goosebumps behind my elbows. That's like the
Oh,
smaller, but then goosebumps all down my body is when I know that my angels are around and like, yeah, yeah, like when somebody says something to me or when I say something to somebody else and it's like right on and you can feel
yeah,
that electricity. How
That
about you?
connection.
How does it show
yeah.
up in your body?
Mine is in my stomach area and all over my whole body. It'll go from head to toe like shit, like just totally tingles
Mm,
in a good way.
right.
Mine's goosebumps. I call them goosies.
Yeah.
I get the scalp tingles. So it's on the top of my head, it's
Oh,
tingly.
That's cool. Isn't that so
yeah,
interesting? We all get it. We just get it in different parts of
different. Yeah. There's also a calmness. I'll say like that's when something really is like it's like, okay, you got it. Like that's how I feel like that one's like yeah, yeah, that's it. But then I know when I'm attached or in the zone, is when I'm calm.
Mm.
Just when things aren't rattling around. It's weird. When feel disconnected but connected.
Mm. I'd love to throw out a challenge to our listeners. Not a challenge, just like see what you're feeling. Like tap into your
Yeah.
body and see if you feel any tingles or any goosebumps or and just
Yeah, we'd love
notice.
to hear it. I'd
Yeah.
love to see it as we post this. What are other people's and how do they tune in? Or, did this create some awareness around just knowing what that voice is, not overthinking the voice?
Yeah.
Like what,
Learning to
yeah,
trust it. Learning to trust it was a game changer for me.
yeah, me too.
Learning to trust it. Yes.
Not that I just wasn't more overthinking. And I think for some of us too, we process out loud. So everyone knows I'm an out loud processor. So that's why I can also get those feelings when I'm either writing, journaling, or when I'm talking to someone, I'll get a, ooh, no, that's not right. Or oh yeah, I think I'm onto something. Let me keep going. Right. So,
Yeah, I'm a outside talker to myself. I talk to myself a lot. And I know that for a fact because when I went to strength training last week, like after I would do a move and there's people in the room. There's four people in the room. And I'd be like, "Okay, all right." And she'd be my strength trainer is like, "You talk to yourself a lot." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I really do."
Well, you're saying good things to yourself. That's the
Oh yeah, I was
be our
pumping myself
greatest
up like,
cheerleader, not
yeah, I
like
was
you
like, "All right,
idiot,
okay.
right?
We can do it. We can do it."
We got this. We got this.
We got this. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good. Yeah.
I'd also love to know what their inner knowings are, like what other people have followed, what guidance have they followed that seemed totally crazy up here, but it just made sense everywhere else.
Mm,
Yeah, and in what ways that small, still voice can, has changed the direction of your life, if you've had that experience too. I'd love to
Mhm.
hear that.
Me too. Good
Yeah.
topic
So
today,
everybody,
Karen.
yeah, we would really love to hear from all of you that are watching. Like, how does this impact you? What does it resonate with you?
And if there are other topics that you want to hear about or discuss, let us know.
Yeah. I love you girls. I love this time we get
I love
together
you
and we
too.
get to share it with other people because we like sit around, whether it's in Fond du Lac or Florida or on Zoom or when we meet for dinner, and we have these like crazy deep conversations and that we've like decided that we want to share it with other people is just like I'm just so excited that we decided to do this. So thank you.
Yeah, I
Mm,
appreciate you gals and glad we're all in each other's corners.
mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Okay. Well, I think that is it for today, right? Unless there's any
Yeah,
wise words.
no.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well,
I got all my whys out.
all right.
Oh,
Until
thank
next
you.
time. Love you, girls.
Next month. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.